Joe is a middle school band teacher whose life hasn't gone the way he expected. Literally. And, figuratively. When he travels to another realm entirely, he must help someone find their passion and what it means to have a soul. Ha! See what I did there? No? Okay. So after Disney's first disastrous attempt to release a film that was originally meant to be released in theaters on Disney Plus with an additional price tag added onto it with Mulan, this movie was released on Disney Plus for free this time. Well, free for people who have Disney Plus. Anyway, funnily enough, my favorite films are the films that have balls. Now, by that I mean the films that have the balls to take risks, to do things differently, whether it's a film exploring ideas about things such as evolution, technological advancement, and man's dependency on technology, film in a franchise with an established formula that takes a franchise in a new and unexpected direction, or a film that's just original. Disney Pixar's Soul is one of those movies. Firstly, this movie is probably the best animation that Pixar has ever done, especially if we're talking in terms of quality. The animation is truly something to behold. Even on a small screen at home, this movie is awe-inspiring to look at. I genuinely couldn't believe how close to photorealistic this movie comes at times. Obviously, the characters themselves look like animated characters due to their exaggerated and more expressive designs, but there are things such as literal hairs on a person's head, or even the fluff on the character's clothing that give a sense of realism to this world. The attention to detail is mind-bogglingly insane. If you took some of the shots of New York City from this movie and tried to trick someone into thinking that they are live-action shots taken of New York City and not shots from an animated film, I kid you not, you'd actually have a pretty good shot at succeeding. Some of the animation is so simplistic yet so original in its design that it was hard for me not to be awe-inspired, even when its purpose was to make me laugh. The jazz soundtrack is something that I really want to listen to because quite frankly it's just that good. That, and I really like the way the music actually has something to do with the main character. It gives the choice to go with jazz and emotional and character related significance, but the music also has a techno-esque synth to it that was very cool, and I loved how the two different styles were used to highlight the difference between the land of the living and the land of the not living? The characters in this movie are some of my favorite Pixar characters ever. Jamie Foxx's voice work as the main character Joe was excellent, and I not only really enjoyed this character as a presence in large part to the charm and likability that Fox brings to the role, but I also unexpectedly found myself really relating to him. He is unbelievably passionate about jazz, so much so that he literally talks about nothing else, and he views jazz as his purpose in life. I just found that really relatable, the idea that you're so passionate about something that you literally view that passion as your purpose in life. But I was also just enthralled by the way this film explores how this burning passion has impacted his life, the relationships with the people in his life, and the meaning of it all. Not just to Joe as a person, but also in terms of what it truly means to live, which is explored in ways that I found truly captivating. We also have the second main character, 22, played by Tina Fey, and this character was brilliant. Tina Fey's voice work was hilarious. She was a really enjoyable presence. 22 was also a really compelling character because this is someone who doesn't necessarily want to take the walk of life because she feels that she doesn't have a reason to. So Joe, who does have a passion and what he views as a reason to live, is tasked with helping her find a passion, which leads to some really intriguing commentary on life and the whole concept of passion and purpose and whether or not those things are truly one and the same. But it added a lot of entertainment value to their dynamic because these are two characters that are forced into a situation that neither of them really want to be in, which makes for some great comedic interactions between the two in which Fox and Faye bounce off each other tremendously. Speaking of the comedy, I have a confession to make. I've never really brought this up or really talked about it before, but I've decided to be a big boy and confess my sin. With a few exceptions, I don't really find Pixar movies that funny. I know, I'm a horrible person. Don't get me wrong, most of them have jokes that are good enough to get a light chuckle out of me, and on the rare occasion have a joke that makes me laugh my ass off, but I've never really found any of their films to be masterpieces in comedy. It's not because the jokes are bad, usually. It's just a matter of taste, I guess. Soul's one of the only Pixar movies that not only had me laughing quite a bit, but it's one of the only Pixar movies that had me laughing quite a bit consistently. There were even a couple of jokes that had me screaming. The writing for a lot of these jokes for me was a lot sharper and wittier than previous Pixar films that it kinda took me off guard. But that's also great for me because personally, comedic dialogue when done well is my favorite form of cinematic comedy, but strangely enough, my favorite aspect of the comedy in this film was the slapstick, especially in the way that the animation was used in very surprising and unique ways to create said comedy. There's a particular character called Terry, played marvelously by Rachel House, that relies on both physical comedy and comedic dialogue, and this character was such a perfect mix of the two that I genuinely got excited whenever the character reappeared. Terry might actually be my favorite character in the movie, especially from a comedic standpoint. While this movie certainly has a lot of strengths, I think its greatest strength is its storytelling and how both the story and characters are used to convey and explore the themes of life, death, passion, and purpose. The film explores all of those things in a way that I did not expect, and the way in which it did explore these things was quite ballsy compared to many films that have tried to explore similar things. The movie is even willing to explore such things in ways that you as the audience might not necessarily agree with at first. The movie to me was going in a direction that to me made me think, oh, some members of the audience are definitely not going to agree with this interpretation. And the characters were doing and saying things that made me think, yeah, people are definitely not going to agree with this completely. But then something happens that gives that direction and the things certain people say and do more layers. It looks at those things from a different angle, and because of that, I ended up thinking about certain themes in ways that I'd never really considered before. The movie doesn't just tackle these themes from one point of view, it gives you several points of view to consider and never does what so many movies in the past have done and craps on certain points of view. Instead, it highlights the pros and the cons of all the points of view that are expressed in this movie, which for me was again so enthralling. But most of all, it celebrates them, like it's celebrating all walks of life. Whether it's using your passion and energy to follow your dreams, using your passion and energy to bring happiness to others, or leading a simpler life, which is a really amazing lesson for kids because the movie suggests that there is more than one way to live a happy and content life, and that there is nothing wrong with living a simple life or following your dreams or even finding a balance between the two. There is nothing wrong with how you choose to live your life. You've just got to live every minute of it. It is for that reason that Soul might just be the most beautifully positive exploration of the meaning of life I've ever seen. I'm gonna be real with you. This might actually be my favorite Pixar movie. I am fully aware of how hyperbolic that statement sounds, but Soul, without a doubt, is a top 5 Pixar movie for me, perhaps even top 3. Or like I said, potentially my favorite out of a lot of them. It was a beautiful, hilarious, and enthralling experience from start to finish, and I'm really glad it's free on Disney+, because I kind of want to watch it again. Okay, I really want to watch it again. Soul gets a 10 out of 10. So that was my review of Soul. Thank you so much as always for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video. But before I go, I would just like to ask you guys, what did you think of Soul? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was bad? Did you think it was somewhere in the middle? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will indeed see you guys in the next one. Until next time, live long and prosper, and may the Force be with you. Always.